Nice to see you. So many people are waving. That's great. So I'm just taking you in. So that's good. Yeah. Huh. All these beautiful faces some of you in far places, which is kind of nice. Yeah. Yeah. And some of you, I don't know, maybe I know. Um, ah, some of you I've known from long ago. So there's Deanna. Hi, Deanna. And Marianne from Nairobi. And it's cool. So we'll just let's just wait while people come on and enjoy them and appreciate them as they come on, and have a little bit of a sit together. So while we do that, okay? Uh, the sound of the ancient temple bell. Ah, so let's just, what are we doing in this life anyway? In meditation, we become near the great thing. Or somehow it's about the great thing, the great matter. And, uh, and so what we're doing really is appreciating it, having it, the here-ness and thusness of it. Feeling the time. Having this life, really having this life without reservations. Or hell, having our reservations without reservations. So very good. What is that? Let's start out with the great ancient koan. What is this? Which can be many things, but for us it means, what is this? Just enjoy it. And hearing that, hearing the silence or whatever's inside, whatever the silence is inside of, which might be noise, traffic. Woodpeckers carrying on at my place this morning for no obvious reason. But that's true of life generally. No obvious reason. Why am I here? Here, here, here. So letting it come to you, letting we're inside the time, we're inside the now, and this is really we don't get more than one now ever. So it's this now. He's banging his computer around. It's this now, and so there's not yet a flaw in it, not yet a problem. So let's let it come to us and enjoy it. And whatever rises, the thing about meditation is whatever rises in the mind, not to make it wrong. One of the old teachers said, "It's for you, honored one, whatever appears." What is this? What is this? What is this? So we're in the great field of this, our life. It comes out of us. And, it's linked to everywhere. Galaxies and earthworms, trees. Well, thank you. It's good. It's a happy thing to be in the temple. It's a strange thing because I used to think it was something I did because it was good for me. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's good for me. I guess it probably is. But actually, I do it now because I just do it, I guess. But I do notice there's this irresistible joy appears whenever I step into the temple. So in a way, it's nice we're doing it in Zoom because our home becomes that temple. So I notice that I ever since my earliest days in temples, I've woken in the middle of the night and gone up to sit, and it's something that's neither virtue nor a problem. What is it? That's what it is. What is it? And then I walk into my living room, and it's a temple. It's already a temple when I walk in. That's a nice thing. And this is where I'm teaching. It's already a temple. Nice work when you can get it. So I wanted to talk about the comment. What is this? Is one of the ancient questions. You can imagine like Neanderthals saying to each other, "What is this?" What is this? What is this? What is this? And I have this kind of absurd story. A friend of mine told me, I think, she was a kid in grade school, and they had a teacher who was German, and they perceived her as severe. I have no idea really, and people would sort of panic, and this other little kid, peed on the floor in a stream of urine, ran down towards the teacher's desk, and the other kids were watching, half in fascination, half in delight, and the teacher said, "Was ist das?" They got her to lose her equanimity and speak in German, and so everyone was delighted. The little boy became a kind of heroic figure for them. What is this? What is this? What is this? And so it became. And it's one of those questions that, in a way, the question, after a while with it, you realize, the question holds the response. The question holds our whole lives, because that wondering is part of the essence of being human. And so I want to start with a great old story. This is, This is one of the great old Chinese stories. And Yunmen had an attendant called Xiang Lin, and he served at Yunmen's side for 18 years. So you get pretty close when you're seeing each other every day. And Xiang Lin was kind of like an executive secretary or something like that. But he was also a Dharma student, and every day Yunmen would call out, "Attendant," and he'd say, "Yes," and Yunmen would say, "What is this?" and and Xiang Lin tried hard to express his understanding because he didn't feel completely lost, but he didn't feel completely free either. And because if you do that much meditation all the time and you're in a temple, you gradually get saturated with it, even if you still don't know what's up. You know? And he tried hard to express his understanding, and he used quotes from poems and ancient masters and other koans, or he'd shout, "What is this?" back at his teacher. And Yunmen would laugh, and then they'd go on to other things. So there was quite a lot of goodwill, and there was no blame or praise even in that. It was just what it is. And so you can see there's something to be said for, you just put that's in meditation, you just put yourself in the vessel of it, the vessel of transformation. And you don't have to understand what's going on, but you have to, put yourself in the vessel of transformation. And so that's a great thing. And so this person did, and every day, and he would also hear Yunmen's sayings and things like that, and a lot of them he wrote down. Some of the Yunmen didn't like people writing down his words because he thought that stopped them from listening to him, and stopped the words from going straight in right now, you know. But fortunately and naturally, people ignored him, and this guy wore a paper robe and would, like, when Yunmen turned his back, he'd write down Yunmen's responses. You know, what is this? Or, every day is a good day. That's the things Yunmen said, and then one day after 18 years, he said, "I understand," and it just, I understand. And you can tell somehow, after 18 years, somebody says that, you kind of believe them. So right, it's like, oh yeah. And so Yunmen said, pray tell. Tell us about it. What do you understand? Logical next question. And he said, and he couldn't say. And that's a wonderful thing when you kind of understand it, but you can't express it yet, one of the other old teachers has a thing. You're like a person who has a dream but can't speak. Yeah. And so something alive is happening, but you can't express it yet. And Yunmen then went on to other things, and every day asked, "What is it?" Kept asking. And 3 years later, he stayed with Yunmen. 3 years later, as gradually the expression, it flowered out of him, it flowed out of him. And so what is it is a kind of a marvelous thing, and it appears as a question so much. And I put it in this book I'm writing about koans, like kinds of koans and things like that. Then I put it in the investigations into reality section. What is this? and the way questions themselves become their own practice. And I remember when I began meditating with koans, I really felt that the koan would I would discover something and then everything would change. But actually, it was the attempt to discover something that changed everything. It was putting myself on that path in the vessel of transformation. So those of you who think, "Oh God, I've been meditating for quite a long time and I don't get it," maybe you do. You're like the person who has a dream but can't say it yet. So there's something about trusting your own life and the goodness in your own life and the questions that you have. It's super important to trust your own life. You don't have the wrong life, that kind of thing. Everything that happened to you that is a cause of sorrow, or that perhaps that you did is a cause of sorrow. Everything that's happened, it has brought you to this moment, and this moment is yours and fills heaven and earth, like that. It's obvious, but we forget it. So And so that sense of like the thusness of things is just really profound, you know. Almost everybody's seen me do this, but if you hold up your hand and look at it, then look at someone else's hand, you know. Yeah. Yeah, don't be scared. Hold it up. Don't think you're too important for this. Hold it up. Hold up your hand where we can see it. Everyone can see it. Thank you. It's a good thing. None of us is, not everybody own. And do you notice how your hand is not conceivable? Like, you can't really, you can make explanations, well, evolution, like, you know, opposed thumbs and things. But actually this, Hakuin said, what is the sound of one hand? Ha! You know, and everybody's like, it stops everybody. But it's wonderful to have a hand. This hand is, it's not as wonderful to have a hand, but everything in your life is inconceivable like that. So hold it up again and enjoy holding it up, because it's kind of ridiculous, right? Here we are holding up our hand and saying, this is the gateway to reality. And it's true. This is reality, yeah. So you can enjoy your koan work and your practice and the inconceivability of coffee in the morning and a friendship and things like that. And this moment, the vastness. Thank you. It's very kind of you to be so play along, have play together, cooperate. And so that play is a big thing, right? It's a part of that's what Yunmen and Shanglin were doing all the time. And Yunmen knew they were playing, but Shanglin sort of, he kept trying to find out what it was all about. So, and all the time, the universe loved him. So I wanted to read you, Fortunately, I brought it in. I think if we look at, you know, most of you heard this story, but I remember when I was really working on my first koan, this woman who was kind of intelligent, interesting, but I didn't know very well, but was working on hers, and we were living in the same temple and things, so working in the same temple all the time. And I remember her suddenly collapsing and laughing and yelling, and then she was like, she just got a fever, and all these things happened as the koan started to work through her. And that happens sometimes, you know. But and this very dramatic kind of epiphany, and people would pick her up and drag her in to see the teacher. She didn't want to go. She couldn't walk. You know, she was so overwhelmed, laughing and being sort of, somehow her body was in revolt against what it was learning. You know, all her old patterns falling away. And then later on, I asked her, and I saw all this because I was there, and I asked her, well, what did you see that made? And afterwards, she was glowing. What did you see? And she said, I saw the way the wall exactly meets the floor. So that's the, what is this? What is this? You know, the thusness of things. I look at the tree outside. What is this? The grey bark, the leaves not yet budded. What is this? So, and I thought another, often we, you know, people are having a hard time, and they, and when a great old teacher Jiao said, that's it too, he wasn't meaning you need to be tougher. He was meaning if you introduce your wonder and what is this into the hard time, it will change. And most of us who've had any kind of hard time have noticed this, you know, anything from childbirth to, you know, high fever or breaking a leg or something like that. It's here too. The mystery is here too. And here's a great, there's a famous old poem by, that's less famous now, it used to be, but by, it's about observing the what is this quality in things. It's called, and it's about, it's Constantine Cavafy, the Alexandrian Greek poet, lived in Alexandria, wrote in Greek, worked as a kind of bureaucrat. He worked as a bureaucrat in Alexandria. And so he had this very kind of apparently serene, quiet life. But he thought deeply about things. and he thought about history, and Alexandria was a place with many languages and many people crossing and things like that. It's called Waiting for the Barbarians. What are we waiting for assembled in the forum? The barbarians are due today. It's a good line by itself. The barbarians are due today. Why isn't anything happening in the Senate? Why do the senators sit there without legislating? Because the barbarians are coming today. What laws can the senators make now? Once the barbarians are here, they'll do the legislating. Why did our emperor get up so early, and why is he sitting at the city's main gate on his throne in state, wearing the crown? Because the barbarians are coming today, and the emperor is waiting to receive their leader. He's even prepared a scroll to give him, replete with titles, with imposing names. Why have our two consuls and praetors come out today, wearing their scarlet togas? Why have they put on bracelets with so many amethysts? And rings sparkling with magnificent emeralds? Why are they carrying elegant canes beautifully worked in silver and gold? Because the barbarians are coming today, and things like that dazzle the barbarians. Why don't our distinguished orators come forward as usual to make their speeches, say what they have to say? Because the barbarians are coming today, and they're bored by rhetoric and public speaking. Why this sudden restlessness, this confusion? How serious people's faces have become. Why are the streets and squares emptying so rapidly? Everyone going home so lost in thought. Because night has fallen, the barbarians have not yet come. And some who have just returned from the border say, there are no barbarians any longer. And now, what's going to happen to us without barbarians? They were, those people, a kind of solution. So it's said that Yun Man, the great Yun Man, who said, "What is this?" every day to his friend and attendant, when he tried to see his teacher, and his teacher threw him out the door and slammed the door and hurt his leg, caught his leg, and he cried out in pain, and that was his moment of awakening. And so, and I think Kavafi's thing is like everything. His gift was to examine everything, the barbarians coming, the outrages of the latest presidential campaign, things like that. The barbarians are coming. The barbarians are always coming, actually. So yeah, like that. So thinking about this. There are a lot of different, ways to step through the gate in Zen, and really that's what we're doing here. We're meeting each other. We're meeting each other from the heart, and when we meet each other that way, something starts to flow in the universe, and we see it differently, and we can say we've stepped through a gate. And which I think is true enough, and a good way to see it. So, and so just feel that. What is it like to be you here? What is this? What is this? Right now. There's a perfection. It's like the wall meeting, the floor. And the weird thing is that I kind of got what she was talking about. I myself was like that guy who said, "I understand," but then I couldn't say anything. And I kind of could get what she was talking. Yeah, the wall meeting the floor is a pretty awesome thing. So what is this? So you can tell when I'm trying to reach out for a destination and a meaning there's so much, I'm caught in the wanting so much, I'm caught in the desire for awakening and things like that. And that's one of the prime things in Zen, that, if it's already here and you're reaching out for it, it's in the reaching, not in the imagined thing. And it was in the Zen story of Buddha, I'm writing a thing on Buddha's awakening at the moment, probably for Lion's Roar and also for Shambhala publications. But you can tell that's the thing that he noticed, was that he was trying to get away from desire and get awakening, but his desire for awakening was full of desire. So he had to turn. There's nothing wrong with the desire, but he thought it wasn't it. And so you have to turn the light inward. Whatever lack you think you have, or whatever joy is yours, inside that there's the light and the awakening. It's a marvelous thing, because it's sort of really moving that you have it already. So we're going to sit a bit, and let's sit with anything you want, but let's sit with, what is this? What is this? And what's this? The sound of the ancient temple bell. What is this? What is this? Here we are in a temple together, really. So. And we can tell that entering the now is better than holding off from the now. There's a kind of, I think, it's easy to feel outside of things and outside of the mystery, and someone else stole the mystery. Or it's available to other people, but not for me. And yeah. But what is this? What is this? What is this? And here we are, and it's got to be here. Right here in your own living room. Yeah, what is this? So just feel ignore my voice if you wish, and feel the silence and somehow when we say, what is this? And we enter the question, the grasping softens, It's like Kavafi's people no longer depending on trouble to find out who they are. The barbarians, the trouble of the barbarians, And just let it come to ourselves. And if we're feeling stuck, just like open the mind a little. We might say, try just a little bit less. We're used to trying just a little bit more, but try, because every time we try, we're putting ourselves outside it, and it's kind of comforting, and we know who we are because I'm the person with this problem I'm trying to solve, and but it's not it yet. There's too much of me in it, When I was, I'm the sort of person who tried to avoid leading and teaching in a temple for a long time, but finally they pinned me down. But I remember when I was, they have a thing called head of practice when you're in a deep retreat, and the head of practice has to say things occasionally. Not very often because they become boring or intrusive, but has to say things in a way I'm talking through the meditation here. It's like that. I'm your head of practice right now. And so, and I remember my teacher, was my main teacher, saying, somebody was being head of practice, learning head of practice, and him saying, well, what you're saying is kind of clever and all, but there's too much you in it. Yeah. And everybody immediately knows what that means, right? Oh yeah, I'm trying to be important and impressive and those things. But if it just comes out of your heart, it comes out of the Tao. You know? It doesn't matter whether you say something or not, really. It comes out of your own heart and covers heaven and earth. What is this? What is it? What is it? What? What is it? And if you can't work it out, what is that? What is it? And if seriousness doesn't help, maybe it's funny. What is it? What is it? Maybe the last place you're looking is you. It's easy to look outside, but if you turn the light inward, there it is. What is it? What is it? The music crept by me on the waters. What is it? The wonder of it. I always think if I'm restless, I'm not quite here, right? But if I turn to the restlessness, then I'm in the restlessness, and that's okay. Reaching for the next thing. I'll never get the next thing, but I might get the reaching. What is it? What is it? And whatever turns up, whatever, it just comes to us, and it's a gift. Whatever appears in the heart mind is a gift. And then it's gone. It's like the clouds go back to where they came from, and something else arrives, and the silence just spreads out. And we belong. And if we're pretty sure we don't belong, we have to, it's in that. Fortunately, it's here, whether we can see it or not. In a way, we just let the meditation hold us and carry us and have us. And so we're not trying to get it to do anything. We're letting the world carry us. What is it? Here it is? Why, it was here all the time. What is it? That plainness thing, like, what is it? Oh, I see, is, I always take that, there's a Sanskrit word tathagata, and in the Zen story, it's actually not the Sanskrit story, but the Zen story, that after sitting all night and conversing with the Lord of the Demons, and Buddha looked up and saw the morning star and awakened and cried out, "Now I see all beings have the nature of the Tathagata. Only their delusions and attachments prevent them from realizing this." And when I was translating that a few times, I thought, well, I better translate that out. And it always came out to the one who comes and goes, the one who comes thus. Things like that. That doesn't help, does it? And so I realized, oh, that's the point, Tathagata is like, what is this? It's for you. And so, but I always associate it with that, the wall is vertical, the floor is horizontal, that kind of thing. And or the leaf is just, the first new leaf is just perfect, like that. So a couple of us been doing. Somebody gave us actually an ancient olive tree. Well, ancient by my standards, but somewhere between 150 and 200 years old, derived from the first conquistador olives brought to Peru in the 16th century, and and so people are now rescuing them because they want people, they want the land, or they're not harvesting olives they don't want the olives or things like that. And so one of my friends said, I'm going to give you an olive tree, and I had no idea what was entailed. This vast creature came in on a huge tractor forklift thing, chewed up the yard, got bogged, chewed up the yard, got bogged, chewed up the yard, got bogged, and eventually got into the hole. And then a couple of people, I told about this, and they sent me music. And so I've been playing with Nazneen and Michael Wilding started it, but so they send me music and I take up my phone and I play it for the olive tree, and and it's kind of fun. What is it? What is this? And the olive tree definitely seems to be settling down. Feels it's had a complicated life, being uprooted and transported on trucks from wherever it came from, Southern California or somewhere. And all that shouting and getting bogged and engine noises and things, holding up wires so that it didn't tear them up, things like that. So it's sort of been a nice thusness of the tree, just looking at the tree, thus, thus. What is this? Thus, thus, thus. So the thusness is also in the play. And so Michael Wilding and I have been sending a message to each other each day. What is this? And sometimes there's a photo or something else. And I thought, well, Yun Men and Xiang Lin, it was 18 years. And after another 18 years, we'll have really got it. We'll be a little antique by then. But so there's that sort of play with it. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? So there's something about when you work with a great question like that, to let it, just technically, to let it enfold you, to let it carry you, it's like a marvelous horse, really, or perhaps it's like a boat, and it will carry you, and all you have to do is keep touching into it. And it's not a matter of your effort, it's a matter of your openness to it. So I guess that's all I want to say. What is this? I want to ask a few people. I see Angela Raquel is on, and it's dark in Tasmania because she's got firelight behind her. Angela's a writer I really like, and she lives in far south Tasmania. What is it, Angela?
Oh, what is it? Well, this morning it's the darkness. So just that delight of being in the darkness and feeling the light start to come. And it was reminding me of a time when I was about 20, 21, and I thought I'd done something really terrible. I'd left, or actually got kicked out of, a community that I thought I really wanted to belong to forever. And obviously some part of me didn't agree with that, but so I found myself out of it, and just a twisting and turning in my mind. I'm really a good person. Why have they done this to me? And I really want to be there, and what did I do wrong, and blah, blah. And one night it just really came to some kind of crisis, and it was the middle of the night, and suddenly it all dropped away, and I was just in the dark, and the dark was outside me and the dark was inside me, and it was all right.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And everybody has to go through that. Oh my God, I did something terrible, and everybody thinks I'm a demon or whatever. And then I don't know whether I am or not. It's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks.
Thanks, Angela. Lovely to have you. And I know very early for you. So the person to speak to, perhaps I'm a demon, is Tess Beasley, who said we're all pirates here.
Apparently, someone around here recently heard that we were all pirates, and they said, "Wait, what do you mean?" And someone else said to them, "Don't you know? Haven't you heard?" The thing that comes to mind is yesterday I had two encounters that were markedly different, and they feel very much both in this territory. The first was with someone who's meditating a while and sort of curious about koan practice, and but very suspicious of it too. And we were sitting together and talking, and it became very clear that he has an explanation for absolutely everything, like how long he should cry over his separation and the difference between grief and self-pity and exactly where, and the nature of suffering and nature of reality and all the levels, and how long you should, and this went on and on and on and on and on. And finally I said, why don't we make some tea? And I said, what kind of tea would you like? And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, caffeinated or non-caffeinated? Well, I don't know. And I said, well, let's smell them. What do you like? What do you like? And it was so difficult for him to like even encounter tea because he didn't have a way that he could sort of organize it. And I said, you might want to start here. Like just start with some tea. And so, well, yes, but my mind wants to, no, just smell, smell. So that was one encounter. And then a couple hours later, I was talking to a friend, and I don't know, for some reason, she just had tears and tears and tears and tears. And I kind of felt like you and men, I'd say, well, what is it? What? And she'd try to speak and nothing, like just more tears and more tears. And this one, so we'd sit quietly for a while, and then I'd say, well, what is it? And she'd try to speak and just tears and tears. And finally it was like, well, then that's what, whatever that is, I guess it's this, so it was so interesting, explanation or no explanation, just to feel the richness and kind of the intimacy of just, I guess there's just tears right now, or sort of as Angela said, there's just darkness, and we have that. So that's all from here. Thanks.
Yeah, that thing about being in a phone booth and you can't get out of the phone booth because you're in the phone booth, kind of thing of like you need a reason to get out for everything. Yeah. Thank you. That's lovely. Uh, John Joseph, do you want to say, what is it? What is this?
I I so much loved Michael's playing. I'm sitting on a zabuton, mat, and I felt like I was on a magic carpet just flying. I found my mind uh, just building a little poem. I hope can I say the poem just briefly?
Sure.
Okay. Wandering thoughts, walking. Black dog runs into the great field, just clotted clouds of spring. That's going through my mind.
Just tell me that again. I just want to take it in.
Wandering thoughts, walking. Black dog runs into the great field, clotted clouds of spring.
Thank you. Very good. What is this? That's what it is. Alison, do you want to say anything? Do you have anything to say?
Yeah. During the meditation today, I was feeling into the effect of what is it like when I don't know what something is, and when I'm looking at something and I like a tree that's in blossom, or a tree that's in the winter bare, or the sky, the clouds coming by. If I know what it is, then it's like it somehow it terminates the my involvement with it. If oh, that's a pine tree, and then I'm off to, I no longer have any kind of rapport or feeling. And if I don't know, there's some kind of leaning into and diffuse merging with the thing, with the inside the question, the wondering. I think you described it as the ancient sense of wondering that's held in the question of what is this? And I was thinking about the sound of birds is very much like that. Around our house, we've got just this whole, we've got red-shouldered hawks, and we have a covey of quail that make this variety of different noises as they're speaking to each other, or the sort of aggressive acorn woodpecker makes its war cry as it comes, and all the other birds scatter. And yesterday I was outside by the bird bath and the bird feeders, I don't know, doing some task or other, and suddenly I hear the whole flock of starlings. And we have a eucalyptus grove right next to our house, where a couple months ago they would gather for the murmurations, and there would be, I don't know, like 1,000 birds or something, and it was this beautiful symphony. And then they'd be up in the sky and then disappear. Well, so I heard them yesterday, but I hadn't heard them for a long time. And I thought, that's weird. They're coming from, and I was right under the maple tree. They'd never been there before. So I looked up, and there was not a single starling, but there's a Steller's jay. And the Steller's jay is imitating an entire flock of starlings. I thought, this is just astonishing. And I could watch its throat and its head moving in all these directions to do this incredible imitation. And what is this? What is this?
Very good. What is this? Yeah, the degree to which animals play and in a way demonstrate reality is kind of a big thing, I think. Like we had a fox who used to play with us, and make jokes actually more than play, really. Dogs make jokes too, but yeah, I guess it was kind of a joke. It was like fooled you, because later on you asked me. You said, "Did you hear the starlings today?" I said, "Yeah, I heard them. Did you see them?" No, it's kind of weird. I didn't. So the reason I didn't hear them is they were a jay. So let's just sit some more. What is this? The ancient question that links us to a great tradition, really. All the masters holding us still, appearing in our dreams and our consciousness. What is this? What is it? What is it? Perhaps the tree is listening to the ditch. And what is this now, and now, and now? It's for you, it's for us. Each moment full of joy. And if it's not full of joy for you, enter there, and it will become visible. The less we add to it, the more visible it is. What is it? What is this? What is this? What is this? The vastness of the universe is in this silence. The vastness of the universe is in your hand. Why is Zazen funny? What is it? That's why. Michelle Riddles, do you have anything to say?
A couple things. I adore that story of the Stellar's Jay. And like this, I never even imagined in my wildest dreams that a Stellar's Jay had that capacity. And I have to say that even while you said that, part of me doesn't believe the story. And but it's also like it's a great image of like, then the Stellar's Jay inside of all of us with hitherto unknown capacities that we're blocking out because we don't believe in them, so there was a story that came to my mind this morning. I was recently talking to my dad, and I've told you guys a little bit about my dad. He's old and having some struggles, but he's visiting his girlfriend now, some distance away. And I said, well, how's it going, Dad? And he says, well, it's been a really good visit, and it's really nice. She's taking really good care of me, and she even cut my hair the other day, and I could tell he was feeling pretty good. And then he goes, but I just really wish I was contributing more. I really wish I was doing more. And I said, well, I understand. And in truth, like, he can't do very much now. And he said, I said, but you're a good guest. You can be a good guest and a good companion. And he said, this is the logical part. And he's like, yeah, I understand that. And I try to do that. And then it just hit me. And I realized that he's been saying this to me for as long as I can remember, that he's not doing enough, and he wishes he could contribute more, and he should be doing more. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the circumstances. And it was just this like, oh my God, the feeling of that, like, and his mind knows better, but it's part of that way he makes the world, which some of which I think I acquired by hook or by crook. But it's sort of like whatever's happening, well, it's all, I can balance it by saying, I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not contributing enough. And whether, and it's almost like, so that's that reaching, that it was just a vision of that way, one person's way of creating that stance and that sense that this isn't it. This isn't it. It's got to be somewhere else. And I have to be different in order for everything to be okay. And in the funny way that feeling that I should be different can actually be so familiar that it can make you feel better and you keep retreating into it. And so what am I saying about this? I don't know. It's just like when this is what the reaching that we have can be. It's so easy to see it sometimes in other people and hard to see in ourselves.
Michael Wilding, give us one note or one word of eternity. What is it?
What is it?
Is that it? That's great. Thank you. Well, give me another note of eternity. That's it. Amaryllis, I can't remember what we're doing for the vows because we thought of this and that, and are we singing? Tell us what we're doing and then lead us into it. Am I involved? How do you feel about doing something with the vows? Where is Jesse? He disappeared. He's off to see his baby. Okay, Allison and
Jesse's here. He's waving. He's waving, not drowning.
can someone unmute him?